going on, everyone? Today we're taking a look at a newly certified for Microsoft Teams, also certified for Zoom, all-in-one video bar from AVer. We're taking a look at the VB342 Pro. In the Microsoft Teams world, the VB342 Pro would be paired with a Microsoft Teams Rooms on Windows system. The device itself has an onboard 4K mechanical PTZ camera with a 10 microphone array and 6-watt speakers. We've got a lot to unpack in this video, so we will do a brief unboxing, take a look at the device, its features and capabilities, talk about some of the audio and video AI capabilities as well. There's a lot going on there. And then we will plug this into a laptop, take a look at how to manage it with the PTZ App 2 app, and then we will demo recording audio and video through the device and show off some of that AI functionality. Before we get to all that, quick reminder, if you're not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button below, turn on notifications, and if you find the video helpful, throw a like on it too for good measure. Share with all of your friends and colleagues on all your social media accounts. Sharing is caring. And with that shameless self-plug, let's go ahead and take a look at the VB342 Pro.
Let's go ahead and unbox the AVer VB342 Pro. Power supply and cables, USB cable, remote control, USB-A to USB-C adapter, batteries for remote, mounting components, batteries for remote, and mounting hardware.
The onboard 4K lens has mechanical pan tilt capabilities, as well as 3 times optical zoom and up to 15 times total zoom. The lens offers a 92-degree field of view. This device features 6-watt speakers and a beamforming 10 microphone array, capturing voices up to 20 feet away. It also features AVer's adjustable audio fence technology, allowing you to determine how far you want to be blocking out distracting noises from. The AI video capabilities include Smart Gallery, which crops each individual user to their own square, and then allows you to choose headshot or half-body mode to determine how much of the individuals are captured in the image. The camera also features gesture controls, including turning on and off tracking and zooming in and out. At the front of the device, underneath the mechanical camera, we can see that we've got a LED light status bar right at the very bottom. Taking a look at the remote control, there is a lot of functionality packed onto this thing. We've got zoom in and out, audio up and down options. We can control access to the Smart Gallery up top, as well as access to our auto tracking features and functionality. We can change source. We can control the camera, PTZ components right there. Answer call, hang up button, 10 different presets down here as well to choose from if you set them all up. So a lot of control for managing the camera built and answering calls, etc., built right here on the remote control. Looking at the device from the back, on the left-hand side, we've got a USB-A port right at the very end. Coming in for a closer look, we've got HDMI out right here. We've got a USB connection right here for our PC connection. We've got our LAN port for Ethernet connectivity, and then our power at the bottom. Flipping the device around to the other side, another USB-A for a wireless dongle connection, an audio expansion port right here, the RS-232 port, and finally a phone-in audio out jack port right at the bottom. While the device can be mounted on the wall and ships with the wall mounts, there is also an optional TV mount. You can also set it on a surface at the front of the room so that it's not mounted. It's got these rubber grips at the bottom, 4 of them throughout the bottom of the device. Now, setting the VB342 Pro up for use is pretty easy. We've plugged in power and the USB cable that were provided in the box, and then we have run the USB cable over to our PC so that we can manage the device in the PTZ App 2 app. Now, one thing I'll point out here, we've got our LED status bar lit up white. When the camera is not in use, this is its privacy position, right? It's looking off to the side, it's looking down, it's not looking around the room. When the camera is in use, it'll then go to whatever position it was supposed to go to look at people or respect the AI settings that you've got. But this is the not in use, looking away, resting position.
So to manage the settings of the VB342 Pro, we plug the VB342 Pro into our laptop or other PC with that USB cable that it comes with. And then you need to install the PTZ app too. We see that's what this is called up here. When you actually install it and launch it, it is a web GUI. So we have a browser window that opens up, and we can see right here that we can do a little more, as with other OEM device tools. We can do a little more than manage the specific device. We've got virtual stream capabilities, keystone correction, smart gallery. We'll get to smart gallery in a second. But right now, we can see that it recognizes the VB342 is plugged in. We've got a couple settings in here. If I click on the camera, it launches another little separate window here to let me kind of see what I'm looking at from across the room. We have all of our PTZ controls built in. We can go up, we can go down, we can zoom out and in, over. So a lot of PTZ control built right in there. I'm going to go ahead and close that window because we don't need that at the moment. Clicking on the information, we can see the software version, firmware version, and serial numbers that we're running on. If we click the edit button up top, we can enter a name up here. We're going to leave that alone. And then we're going to go down to settings. So when we open up the settings, we can see all those 10 presets already right here. We can change the position of the camera and then click set, and we will have our 10 different settings, if we want to use them all, ready to be accessed from the 10 different setting buttons on the remote control that we saw earlier. I'm not going to mess with the presets in this particular video, but I just wanted to point out that they're there, and this is where you'd set them up. Coming down to the settings, we now see that we've got our tracking mode right up top. So right now we've got a manual frame. If we do auto frame, we can see the camera then gets to work on zooming back out and figuring out what it needs to track and where. So it's finding me. We see that on screen. It's doing its job. Now, audio tracking will obviously allow the microphones on the bar itself to be utilized to track the speakers. So I'm going to turn on audio tracking right now. It's recalibrating based on my audio. And let's go ahead and make this a little bigger, okay, just so we can kind of see it in action here. We're capturing the screen. I am doing audio tracking. I stand up, I'm talking, and the camera is following me as I talk. It's following my voice. It's using those microphones to detect where I'm at, and it's following me around the room. So this is not the auto frame, this is the audio tracking. Cool stuff. We'll go ahead and shrink that window back down. Now, coming down to presentation mode, we have a note here that shows, hey, we need to have presets set up for this, which I don't, so we're not really going to demo that. But something I will call out about that is that this allows you to use a predefined area to use the voice to track the person instead of using the framing of people for presentation purposes. So that's what that is. We've got our framing speed down here, slow speed, middle speed, high speed, and then we can choose our framing size. Now, I find that in general, I like to keep things on, the way they come in the box, unless there's a specific need to make a tighter frame. Maybe there are things in the background that are more distracting. Maybe we don't feel like the camera is keeping up quite as much as it should with the person. We'll go ahead and put this on high speed, but we're going to leave the frame size to medium. Coming on down a bit, we have the smart frame preset point. If we had presets set, then that would be the smart frame preset point, but we're going to use central of the screen image since we don't have any of those set. Audio tracking idle interval. So you can set the number of seconds for that. Gesture control is on or off, and this is a beta feature, but it's pretty cool, right? If we click on the question mark there, we can see that we have various gestures that we can do. So we've got our gesture control list here. Again, this is beta. A couple little notes here. When the gesture command is enabled, please show gesture for 2 seconds for recognition of that gesture. Okay, now to operate the camera PTZ control, you want to disable the AI function. So first gesture to disable AI function is you would take your hand and you'd put it up, again, 10 centimeters away, off to the side of your head, not above your head. Leave it up there for 2 seconds. That should turn your AI off. Now to turn it back on, we'll turn the AI on. When it's off, you can use other gestures to control the camera. So camera zoom out, we'd put our hand up, hold the hand like this, and then zoom in image would be to raise your hand over your head with an open hand or closed fist, and that will zoom in. Let's go ahead and take this for a little spin here. Okay, to take gesture controls for a little spin, I have clicked on auto frame. We're going to come down to the gesture control area and we will turn it on. It's on, okay? And we're gonna make our little preview screen bigger here. Now I'm gonna stand up and I'm going to walk over to this area. We're going to let auto frame detect that I've moved over here and come over, follow me to the area I'm at. Yes, over here, auto frame. There we go. Now, what we're going to do is turn our AI on or off. So we'll put our hand up here and we'll say, leave it up for 2 seconds. Say we're turning our AI off. Okay. So now the AI is off. We're going to have a zoom in command where I take my hand and raise it above my head. It'll recognize that I'm doing so. I'll hold it there for a couple seconds and it zooms in. We'll hold it up there a little bit longer and it's going to zoom in a little bit more. There we go. Now, if I want to zoom back out, we make that fist and we hold our hand up at least 10 centimeters away from our head and leave it there for a couple seconds. And that'll let us zoom back out. It's recognizing the gesture and we're zooming back out. So again, this feature is in beta. I'm sure AVer would love your feedback during beta if you're using it, but those are the gesture controls, turning AI on and off, using zoom in, zoom out. Cool functionality. I'm sure this is going to go much further than just the zoom in and out into the future beyond beta. Coming back over here, I'm going to turn gesture control off just so that we don't have beta features throwing our other demos for a loop. Audio fence off or on. So once you turn it on, you have your audio fence mode. Do we want a narrow view fence or a wide view fence? I'm going to say narrow view fence, and it's going to have a much smaller scope of where it's tracking audio from and capturing audio from. But you know, if you wanted to make that a little bit wider, we can widen that back up with that button as well. It also says here when it's off, the microphone pick up sound all around the video bar. When choosing either narrow or wide view fence, microphone only picks up the sound within the viewing area, and all the AI tracking functions, such as the auto framing, will be disabled. I'm going to set the audio fence back to off just so we're not messing with any of our other AI auto tracking functionality. But we have our camera focus can be manual or auto. I'll set that to auto. The auto focus PTZ or continuous. PTZ is the default. I'll leave it there, but you can change that to continuous. Home position is going to be the last operation position, preset 0, or factory center position. I'm going to say that we're going to leave it at factory center position. That seems, I don't know, we'll leave it there. Sleep position will be preset 9 or the factory downside position, which we pointed out a little bit earlier. Sleep timer. When do we want it to go to sleep if there's no activity? You can be a little more aggressive with that. 10 seconds, you can go all the way up to 20 minutes. On-screen menu can be off, on, or load preset off. Save presets on or off. Image flip, if that's helpful to us, is on or off. So if we say on, we see that we are flipped up on our heads. So if you're going to mount this thing upside down for some reason, that may be something you want to do. Image mirror, we'll flip that around in case we find the mirror view helpful. And I'm going to go ahead and put it back to the original form just because that's more helpful for me in this moment. True WDR, flicker decreases function will be disabled automatically when it's on. Flicker decrease and IFP monitor can be off or on. While in on mode, the WDR function will be disabled automatically. You can choose your frequency, 50 or 60 hertz, your white balance, your noise reduction, Noise reduction is low right now. I'm going to say middle, just because I get dogs barking here and there in the house, and we'll keep that to a minimum in the background. You can change your brightness, your sharpness, your saturation, all that other good stuff. Low light comp. Allow remote access. That's a pretty cool function if you want to allow someone to manage the device remotely. Low resolution under 720p can be disabled or enabled. And then enlarge total zoom up to 15 times. 15 times zoom. Disabled by default. You can enable it, but it says that that 15 times zoom is only enabled or available for 720p or lower resolutions. What do you want your video frame rate to be? 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second? And then you have some RS-232 settings down here. I'm not going to get into all those. SSL function for the IP web page can be on or off. And those are all of your settings for managing the camera. Now, when we come over to system, we've got a few other things in here. Bluetooth pairing. If we need to pair Bluetooth, you can start that pairing right here. USB display will be on or off. It's on by default. I/O port, you can enable all ports or only enable the USB port. For the firmware update, I'm going to say auto update. Current firmware is the latest version, but it will find an update if there is one and update that way. Otherwise, you can choose manual. You can reset the factory defaults, reset the password for that web access. Troubleshooting, you can start troubleshooting if you're having some sort of problem with the little wizard here. Test the speakerphone, install a driver of USB display, and then we've got information about the device right down here. For our audio, like I said, there is AI for video and audio here. We can turn on or off noise suppression. Noise suppression is awesome, leaving that on. Beamforming microphone. Do you want that to be off or on? There's a couple little things to note in here. I'll encourage you to read those. I'm going to say on and leave it on because beamforming, awesome in my book. Automatic gain control, off or on. Echo cancellation, off or on. Definitely want that to be on. Who wants to hear an echo on a call? Keyboard noise suppression, off or on. I mean, I think, in a room, that's not generally too bad of a problem, but we'll just say on because who wants to hear clicking of a keyboard as well? And our phone in jack has several settings to choose from. Finally, we've got this preset link right down here. I'm not going to mess with any of this at the moment, but know that you've got those settings. Coming back out to home, we're going to go over to Smart Gallery. So Smart Gallery is where everyone gets their own box, right? Now, the way that the image is sent to your Microsoft Teams or Zoom meeting or whatever is that it's going to capture each person individually, and it's also going to send an image of the entire room. A couple things to note here. It supports a maximum of 10 to 20 people depending on different camera types. There are several models supported, including the VB342 Pro. When we start the function, we're going to find both this camera's name as a camera source and also the AVer USB VCam as the video source. You're going to choose the VCam when you're using Smart Gallery. Okay, so very good thing to note. Now we need to make sure we're connected with USB, and then if the connection is done, the camera card appears. So we'll say start. With that, we'll pull up Microsoft Teams, and we'll say meet now in our Microsoft Teams. We'll start a meeting here. Now we'll go to our settings, and again, you want to choose that AVer USB VCam. We can see we've got the VB342 Pro, but we want the VCam for the Smart Gallery selection. We're going to go ahead and say join now, and I just want to, we're not going to do anything super fancy here. I just want you to get an idea. This is the image that the far end is going to see in the Teams meeting. Okay, they're going to see that you've got your main room on that bottom, and then all the participants are going to get their own heads up top. So if we come back to our settings over here, we can choose from the headshot, which we currently see in this image. We are cropped down to the head, or we can choose from the half body. So when I say half body and we go back over, we can see that, oh, hey, now we're actually getting rid of that big main image, and we're seeing the half body of the actual participants in the meeting. So that's kind of the difference between capturing just the head or getting a little more context of the person in the room. It'll do some recalibrating here and there to capture, zoom in, make sure it's getting a more accurate picture of that half body. Coming back over one more time and selecting the headshot, we will say headshot, and then there we go. We are back to having that full room image plus the headshots of whoever happens to be in that meeting room. So hopefully that gives you an idea of what the Smart Gallery feature is like currently, what it's capable of, what headshot versus half body are. This again is what the far side would see if you had multiple people in the room. Picture another head here, and you'd see all of them in this shot at the bottom. Likewise, going back to our half body, we will come over here and we will see that the half body is by itself. So again, multiple people in the room, you're going to have half bodies next to each other. That's what the far end is going to see coming through, is that one camera image.
Okay, so this little demo is our audio video demo. We are actually recording my audio through the 10 microphone beamforming array, and we are recording video through the VB342 Pro's mechanical PTZ camera. Now, as you can see, I'm walking around, I'm moving, the auto framing is doing its job, it's keeping track of me, and you're getting a sense of what it's like to hear me through the in-room microphones as I walk around the room. So just a brief demo of what it's like to see the video through the 342 Pro, as well as hear the audio on the far end through the video bar.
Okay, so last demo, we're showing off the AVer VB342 Pro in a Microsoft Teams room setup. Again, this is going to be a Teams rooms on Windows peripheral, all in one video bar. You might pair it with something like a Lenovo ThinkSmart Core. In this case, we've got a Lenovo ThinkSmart Hub here. Both good options for attaching the speakers, microphones, and cameras to. And we've got a Teams rooms on Windows setup here. A couple of account issues that I'm not going to deal with at the moment, and I think I got my display swapped, but we're showing off the camera capability here, specifically some of that AI follow the room and Microsoft Teams integration. So we're going to go ahead and start a meeting by just saying meet now. And in the meeting, we're going to have our video come up on screen here, and we've got auto framing turned on. So already it's finding me. What we're going to do is get rid of this little box in the middle. So we just added a user, dropped the user, not showing off an interactive meeting. I just wanted to show off our video capabilities in the Microsoft Teams meeting. So as you can see down here, we are actually in that Teams meeting. This is my video in the meeting from the VB342 Pro. And we've got the AI auto framing happening. I'm really close to the camera right now, so probably throwing it off a tiny bit. But we do have the remote control, again, certified for Team Solutions. So first thing, I'm going to walk back here, and we'll let the camera kind of follow me around a little bit. It'll do its auto framing. Remember, in the settings, I set the camera to actually have a pretty high rate of recalibrating. As I walk around, camera backs back out, sees where I've kind of stopped, where I've settled down, frames into me to get a closer picture. The other thing we'll talk about here is the Microsoft Teams integration. So on the remote control itself, we've got a number of buttons here. We can answer a call, hang up a call. We can mute ourselves. So if I mute, I'll click the mute button. You see that the camera has red on the LED status under there. And if you look down at the actual center of room touch console there, we are muted down there in the interface as well. So we'll go ahead and unmute. We're back to blue up there, and you can see we're unmuted down below as well. Now, for the other AI modes, we already demoed some of those during the actual management of the device from that PTZ App 2 app. We saw how to do the Smart Gallery feature. We saw that we had audio tracking capabilities. We have a continuous transition flow versus the PTZ transition flow, a number of things that can be done. And here we've gone through a little bit more of the auto framing and following you around the room capabilities. A lot of AI built in there. Keep in mind you've got noise fencing, acoustic blocking, a lot of good audio AI built in as well. Now we've showed off a little bit of that Teams integration. The final thing we'll do while we're in this Teams meeting, we'll bring that remote back up here. We're going to click the hang up button and hang up the call. And with that, we have wrapped up our Microsoft Teams call using the VB342 Pro as a Teams certified device in a Teams Rooms on Windows solution. And there you have it. That is the AVer VB342 Pro. Hope you found this incredibly insightful and helpful. If you did, throw a like on the video, share it all over your social media accounts. If you're not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button below. Let me know your thoughts on the video as well. Drop a comment below, ask a question, I'll help if I can. If you thought there was room for improvement with the video, you wanted to see something else demoed, there's a little room for that, so let me know down there. Thanks again for tuning in, and I hope we'll see you back here for the next device overview video.